Welcome back to a little update video today. We will talk today about AMC, BYND, FFAI, GoPro, Open, and of course SPY and nasdaq. If you're interested, just stay tuned. As always, I'm using the Fractal method. Explanation video comes at the end of the video. So let's jump into AMC. So for AMC again today, just a small update video for the big one with price targets, 1 part squeeze, 2 part squeeze. I will link the bigger video at the end of the video. Today we just look what we have done today. So let's zoom in. So today nothing really changed. I will again show you the 4 versions we have, but this time also with price targets and with little warnings. Yeah. First of all, still our main tracking. Yeah. Nothing has changed. As long as we're not breaking over 153, main tracking is still absolutely valid, and I really would like to see this version. So this version, sorry. Just to make that absolutely clear. First of all, this would still be our V. We made a little tiny higher high today. We might do tomorrow the same shit. Yeah. As long as we're not breaking 153 cents, everything is okay. I would still expect a 0.5 or 0.61 pullback from here. Yeah? So means 116 to 110. Then going up again. If we're doing then a B and a little pullback in between here, doesn't matter. Your main target would be the A. Yeah? The A would be near the 200 EMA, which is right now at 210-ish, I think. I think we will check this trend line, 180. Then we're doing a 0.5 pullback or 0.618 pullback, maybe like 2021. We're adding a higher low, and then we go. To what would we go after this? Because I said I would show price targets. If we're doing this version, I'm still pretty convinced that we're doing this, the same like 2021. If you look from our V, we broke out of this multi-year trend line, would be the same here. You would break out of this multi-year trend line, and we went so high that the breakout retest first was on the trend line, but second was also a 618 pullback. In that case, my price target is still 120 to 150. So when we pull back, we're doing a 618 pullback. So let's see here that we still, if we pull back, coming here perfectly the 618. This would be my dream version of all our versions. Yeah. The second version would be the alternative bullish version, would be this here. And I mean, it's still bullish. Yeah. We would just go up. We would break over the 153. And the target for A would still be the same. This trend line near the 200 EMA, we would still do the 0.5, 0.618 pullback, would still add a little higher low after that, and then we squeeze. There is only one really problem I have with this, and why in my dreams, I don't want to do this. Yeah? Because the only time we did this version was May 2024. You see, you had your V, you just went up without really fit pullbacks. You went to your A, and after that, you did a 618 pullback. Here, you added a higher low, and then you squeeze. Here. Why don't I like that? Well, and here comes the main problem with this. It was first a 1 part squeeze, but it was in the middle of the fractal. This was clearly not the squeeze because the fractal wasn't finished back then. And here comes my main problem. I'm not saying that if we do this, there's no way we can just still do our 150 or even do our one spot squeeze to all-time highs. But with this, there's still the absolutely shitty version where we're doing the same like May. And in that case, you won't go over $80, $50, $8.50, $9. You won't break May highs. Why? Because this was just during in the middle of a fractal. This was no ending. If you're repeating a no ending, well, it's not an ending. In that case, it's absolutely possible that this becomes T and this is our M. In that case, you will come up here, reject $8, $9, and first just doing a new low. Yeah. In that case, I tell you, there will be a reverse split because we would come way too low. Or if this is our T, this could then just be higher low. We won't make new lows, but we still won't break $8. And I tell you, this will take 1 to 2 years. That's why I would hate that version. Yeah? And to make that absolutely clear, with this version, you could imagine how many people will be backholders again. Because let's say we do this, yeah, in May, we ran up, we open here and not breaking it. Or we're just really running over 3, 4, 5 days up here, but we're not breaking this. How many people will sell? I don't think many, because everyone is telling them we go into all-time highs. And especially one thing, this is nothing slow where you can say we come up here, we check, okay, I think about selling. It will be the same thing like here, or like 2021. You will run up, you will hit your head, and you will most likely have 10 minutes, maybe even less, to decide before you get done. Like in May. That's the shitty part. Yeah. So that's why I really, really, really don't want to see this. I'm not saying if we're doing this, this has to happen, but the danger is there. It would be better if we don't have the danger at all. Okay, that was the bullish alternative. Now the BABS alternative. Why the BABS alternative? In the last video, it was the hopium alternative, because this version is not coming from me. It's from a colleague for me, and he asked me, why is that a hopium alternative? Just because I wouldn't track it like that, but I can see why. Yeah. In that case, you have 1 hour left and right. Right side is January 2021. Left side is now. Yeah. And in that case, we have here V, you have here V. This section here would have been this section here. The candle we are waiting for since weeks now would be already this candle here, and this uptrend here would be this uptrend here, and this breakout would be this breakout. For this idea, you would be right now here. Yeah. In that case, you still need a 0.5 pullback like in 2021 or 618. Yeah? You still have to do a higher low like in 2021, and then you go into your squeeze. I'm not thinking that, but I would prefer this version still more over the second bullish alternative. Why? Because here you could still say you're doing kind of 1-to-1 to 2021. And that would mean we start the fractal new. Yeah. So in that case, the danger of rejecting $8 is way lower than the second bullish alternative. Yeah? Because you see it kind of, or if we do that, you will see it, we're doing kind of 1-to-1 what we did in 2021. In the case of this shitty alternative, I would just say be careful. Yeah. In the best case, we're breaking the 200 EMA and we're gapping this part and you can forget it. But I'm not saying when you have to sell. Yeah. And I make that absolutely clear. Whatever we are doing, if we are open here, if you are open here, here, or here, or here, it doesn't matter. You don't have to ask me in the comments. On this day or days, you won't get from me an answer. Yeah? Why? Because I can't do that. With the law, I even don't want to do that. Yeah. Just imagine I said I would say sell, and after the next day we are getting 300% more, and you sold. Or I said hold, and the next day we're getting down 500%. I won't do that. Yeah. I still think we will not see something in April. Yeah. I still tending to May, whatever version we are doing. You have enough time to make your plans. Yeah. I hope everyone is making a good decision. The last absolutely bearish alternative, just saying because you should always have one, is as long as we're not breaking over 153. Yeah. This could still be T, and we just knife down. I think if we go over 153, I don't think we can do that because that would be too high for a T. Yeah. In that case, there are no confirmation levels. Yeah, because if I tell you now, yeah, if we touch or break 93 cents, we go down, it's not helpful. For levels, if we do that, it would be 91 cents, but I don't think we will hold it. It's most likely 81 cents then. But I'm not tending to that at all right now. But we saw that already at FFAI and beyond. Always have an alternative. Okay, well then let's jump into beyond. So for beyond, also today, for the big story, I will link the explanation, the big video at the end of the video. Today, we just look what we especially have done today. And beyond really wants to kill me. Just saying that. So we got a fucking pretty good one. Yeah. And I have to say, I still have a bullish. I still have a bearish alternative, but to say I'm not getting bullish here would be a lie. My only problem, as I showed in the last video, is still this section here. Yeah, because here's our earnings candle. Here is the M starting, and I showed already last video that this is a higher low. So the T normally can't start here. The only way to make this working and bullish would be that the T is here in this candle. This one. This tiny 2-cent candle. That's the only way to make this a V, to make this a higher low, and to make this an outbreak. Yeah. So, but we went over M. Yeah. So this is fucking bullish. That was the reason I said here in the last videos, there's a 1% chance. Yeah. And I saw that only a very few times that this is possible. Yeah. So for the bullish version, I would still say that this here is our T. Yeah, I know from the rules here that's absolutely wrong. Yeah, I only saw that for GME. Yeah, and you know how I stand to GME, but that's the only version because you have here your V, you have here your higher low. You broke out over T. This is your little A pullback. You broke over M. This is your little B. With a 0.5 pullback. So in the best case, you're breaking out tomorrow. That is how that looks like. What are we doing now? I said already, if I'm wrong, 62 cents is bullish. Breaking 66 cents is very bullish. Breaking over 72 cents is nearly already confirmation, and breaking over 80 cents, and there is no alternative anymore. So I did that for a reason, because what happens if I am wrong? So what could we do now? For the absolutely bullish case, the higher low from October was finished on April 7. We already did a little higher low and we are finished with everything and we can go. That means if we're doing something similar to October, we could just see something like that. Yeah? Up, up, up. Next main target for this is, as it always was, something over $15 because it's over T. That is if we are doing it absolutely fucking quick. If we are going slow for the bullish variant, it's I hope you don't sleep in now. Yeah. In that case, we have our V, we have our higher low. We did our tiny A, our tiny B. Our next target is our tiny C over T. That means something over 72 cents. That will become also our small a. Breakout retest. Then we go up again to our small b. This small b has to be over 80 cents. Also here, you will have your tiny a, tiny b, and this is also your tiny c. After that, you're coming up to your small c. This small c is your normal a. This has to be over $1 over this T. Breakout retest, 0.5, 0.61 pullback. Then you're coming up to your small b. This small b has to be over 160. Pullback. And then you're already coming to your small c, which is your big A. That's our $15 target. But again, every time BYND was moving, like October, like February 2024, like August 2022, like January 2021, and also the IPO, we never did these little pullbacks. So there can be pullbacks, but I don't think we will now do it since till 2027, up, down, up, down, up, down. Yeah, we never just did that. So yeah, I don't think we will be that slow. Yeah. The only bullish alternative I would still have is that this was our V, but we still need the higher low of this section here, because this is a very tiny higher low. This is normally you start a little tiny higher low and then you're doing the bigger higher low. In that case, you would do something like this. Yeah. In that case, you already have the level where you pull back. So if you go up here, but you reject 82 cents, yeah, you will come back to 62. Here is your V under A, which would also be a breakout retest of this. This would be the end of April, this whole thing. And as quite everything else, in May, you're getting then the monster candles. That's the only bullish alternative I would still have if we not just break to the upside. The two bearish alternatives are still there. If you break downside from here, if you touch 50 cents, main problem still exists that this higher low is wrong. Like FFAI, this becomes T. You still go down to make new lows. Still have to do the rest of the year the big macro higher low, and maybe in 2027, which won't go over 5. No, yeah, you won't go over $2 till end of the year. Maybe you see something next year. Yeah? But I'm absolutely not tending to this, especially with this move right now. Even I can get bullish. Only thing, because I really hate to just say that this little thing here is T. or that we just break rules and say this is a higher low and T started. There is still a case where this was just M. And I'm talking M from this version here. Yeah. In that case, you will reject. You will come lower than 57, as I said. But this time you will come up one last time for your T. And then you will go to your V. Also, for this version, you won't break 50 cents, but it will take whole April. Also, this will take whole April, in my opinion. And then you go. Yeah. To what I'm tending to, I would tend to, if you break over this line, over, I would say if you break over 72 cents, for me, every bearish alternative is that. Maybe we're doing the higher low version, but in general, every bearish alternative is that. But if we see this week coming down here again, especially if you look at this trend line, we perfectly rejected this trend line. In the best case, I want to see breaking this tomorrow. If you go down here, I think there's a big possibility that this was just M. It was news today, yeah, but we have to break levels. Otherwise, this is the plan for end of April. Yeah. And end of April, start of May, we hopefully are holding this higher low and go. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, next one is FFAI. Nothing really happened, but just two things I want to show for the overview. Again, IPOC, lower high, midpoint. Our previous higher low broke. Yeah, just a good example for when you're breaking higher lows. This is our T. We went down. In the best case, this was now our V. I have two versions, an absolutely bullish one, an absolutely bearish one. Yeah. I say it again, I'm tending right now to none of these. I have a position because I don't get out of them. It's January contracts, and I think I bought them for 2 cents. And there's no reason to sell them because they are worthless. So I'm really not tending to. If anybody wants to invest for this thing, just no financial advice. I would still say wait for confirmation for this higher low. So for the bullish version was April 7 our V. We did a perfect higher low. We went up, broke out. This was our A pullback. This here was our B pullback. And right now we are rejecting under our previous T. This is perfect because this C would be the peak of a higher low. In that case, we already have our level for the pullback, V under A. That means we have to fall under 23 cents. We have to hold this level, and then we can start doing stupid shit. Yeah? The stupid shit I'm calling for our A and B. Just one warning. I already showed that in the last videos. Our previous squeezes, so 2024 December and 2024 May, you made a higher low. And if you look, you added a second one. Same in May. You made a higher low, you made a second one. So there is tracking for it that if we finish this, there's a possibility we're doing another one. Just saying. So if you're bouncing here, don't go in weeklies. No financial advice. Also saying, because so many people are hyped, look, we went up 111%. Yeah. But I already said last time, yeah, we did it a few weeks ago too. And here comes the bearish version. Compare these two to each other. Yeah. You will see we are doing absolutely the same thing. Top, top, down, up, M. So the only thing, we can do two things now. We are holding this higher low maybe doing another one, but the direction would be up, or we're doing the same shitty thing and making new lows. And what I already said in the last videos, if we're breaking the low here again, yeah, we coming so close to the VR deadline, yeah, because Nasdaq has the rule, if you're trading 10 days under 10 cents, you are gone. There is no plus 180 days, no. 10 days under 10 cents and you are gone. And I tell you, the owners of this company don't want that. So before this is happening, they will do a reverse split. So you could kind of say this right now is the last chance without a reverse split. You have to hold this higher low. You have to go up. Okay. Next one is open. Just because of this little shit we did today. Just for the overview, IPO C, lower high, midpoint, last time to sell, down to RV. First squeeze was our A, perfect breakout retest, also perfect 0.5 pullback, came up to RV and pullback. Also A, T, B, M, still perfect. Sadly, we broke our higher low today. Same like BYND, same like FFAI back then. So this now can only be T. Yeah. And as you already saw in BYND, as we already saw in DGT, as you already saw in FFAI, normally you're not doing just a little lip and then go up. No, normally you're doing a bigger pullback, then forming higher low and then go up. So I already said, if you're touching or breaking 427, I wouldn't go in anymore. For people who have already a position, it's not doom and gloom yet. Yeah. As long as you're not really breaking the 618. So you will come lower, maybe even going to the 340, yeah, to the 618. As long as you're bouncing somewhere here and then doing in a higher low, everything is still fine. If you touch, and only touching is enough. If you touch the 786, that means if you touch 240 or 247, yeah, 248. In my opinion, this is over because B isn't allowed to touch the 786. Then B becomes Y ever as C. That would be fucking bad. Not seeing that yet, but as a level, just saying, if we're doing the pullback and somewhere bouncing in here, price targets still the same. For our next VLC, something between 11 and 38, if we're not just doing something stupid and breaking all-time highs. But the main sad point here is we added time, because this will take some time, sadly. Okay. Next one is a very, very interesting community wish. GoPro. And I really say it's very interesting. And I also called it out from Whiskey19. Yeah? It's so interesting that I even will put it on my watch list to track. Yeah? There's an absolutely bullish version. Still an absolutely bearish version, but the absolutely bullish version looks interesting. He asked me for that on Sunday. Yeah. Sadly, I only looked at that today and wow. Okay. For the tracking, especially the IPO is very interesting, but we come to that in a second. Here's our all-time high, our C, lower high, midpoint, last time to sell, down to our V. So for the bullish version, our V was April 8, 2025. And since then, till today, we just made a perfect high low. The perfect high low ended on March 23. I'm just saying, if you ask, it's a triple bottom, yeah. But I already said that, in my opinion, not every stock is not allowed to do double button, triple button, quadruple buttons. Only AMC is not allowed to do a double button. But also the next thing is, this is a higher low. That doesn't matter if this is double, triple, quadruple. The V was a single candle, so perfect. Then we need a perfect A, a perfect B, because if you look, near the 0.5, perfect. From A bottom to B, perfect 0.5, 0.618, up to our C. Lower high. For the bullish tracking, midpoint, T, V. Perfect 786 and perfect V and A. And of course, after the high low, we gapped up 80%. This is 80%. So 146% even. So there are two ways here. First of all, macro higher low is finished. We just go. That's version 1. We come to the price levels in a second. Second, you see here's a T. That means this is your small a. So if we still need some time, May, for example, we now doing a pullback to the 618. That means you would come back to 83 cents, bounce here, and then go up. Yeah, that's the only way if we need more time. What happens after that? So for levels, our next level is T at 13. Our level for big A, the next level would be 17 for B. But you see, it's very close to each other. Normally I would say no chance. But if you look back at IPO, it kind of makes sense, because you have here your V. This is absolutely clearly your B. Yeah? So your A, in my opinion, is somewhere in this section here. Yeah? So if you even zoom in, you could make a case that you're doing this here right now. Yeah? Because this is a perfect 618 pullback. So if we're really pulling back till end of April, this could be May. So yeah, that's gold. Yeah. Before we're coming to the bearish alternative, I looked some contracts up. No financial advice. The January, I'm not saying it will take that long, but the January 27 contracts max strike is $5. They are only between 5 and 10 cents. Of course, maybe tomorrow a little bit more. I wouldn't think that, because from here to $5, it's there's 317%. I don't think they will move. But if you're going to 13 and you have January $5 strikes, they will move. Yeah? And it will be a fucking gap up. So my idea, I will look what is happening tomorrow. I will get some of them. No financial advice. How to play that? If you're doing the pullback and then the gap up, wherever the gap up is, if it's at 14, if it's at 50, if it's at 60, whatever, I will sell at open. Yeah? But this thing looks fucking great. The alternative for this, because this looks weird, there is a possibility that this was your T and this is your M. In that case, this becomes your M and you will knife down. You will come up again, will do your T, and then you will broke all term lows. That's the alternative. Yeah? Confirmation level for this is if you touch or break 60 cents or 5.90, 30 cents. If you break through this level, I think there's a pretty good case that this is T. Yeah, as long as you're not doing that, this could be a fucking interesting play, especially with this gap up. Yeah, because this was a gap up of 169, 170%. If we do that from this level, yeah, it's way lower, but this is still our price target then. Yeah, so you have to go over 13. You maybe even go higher. We don't know what this whole thing is. Yeah, what I mean with that, this could be A, B, C. Yeah, so if this is just A, yeah, you maybe go even higher. Yeah, so looks interesting. Good idea. Okay, and for the end, SPY nasdaq. So, SPY nasdaq. So we will start with SPY today. Just one thing, because I said in the last video, I am tracking a pullback and not that we got this one. Yeah. And I was not tracking this little pullback. Yeah, my pullback went something like this, yeah, or way lower. Yeah. So in that case, yeah, I also said I bought YOLO puts. Yeah, and this position is that. I mean, I still have them for Wednesday because they're worthless. Yeah, so happens. That's why I hate to break my rules. Yeah, I don't want to play over the weekend, but it looked perfect. And we got perfect news. Yeah, peace talks, ceasefire talks are ended, not working, and back. Also, perfect example for news doesn't matter. Yeah, because we closed Friday here over the weekend. Peace talks failed, and then today we just went up. And in the middle of the day, we got the news that Iran wants to talk again. So no, this move wasn't because of news. Yeah, that's why I'm saying news doesn't matter. Yeah, but also, I mean, I played from here to here. Yeah, so I could cover my position, but that's why I hate to play over the weekend, because you can't close it. So still, you know me, in my opinion, and I'm still standing to this opinion, October or January was our top. I'm still of this opinion. You see now this trend line, our beautiful wedge for SPY. I think we will get our answer this week. If now Iran suddenly don't want to talk or whatever, doesn't matter. We still have to go over this trend line. Yeah. So we are already very fucking close here. Very close. So the level is still 688. 690 is already over it, in my opinion. Yeah. So if SPY is breaking 688, which is kinda nothing. Yeah. I mean, this is what? 0.30%. If SPY, and I say that it doesn't matter if it's pre-market, after hours, only overnight. Yeah. Don't like that, but then you have to look at futures. But if we go over this trend line, that's bullish, and I'm wrong. Yeah, if you're breaking this trend line, you go into a bull market. You will do a high, whatever it is. You will do a breakout retest, and you go into a bull market. It makes for me personally no sense to break this high and then breaking under it again. At least not yet. So yeah, I won't play this. I play the breakout retest. Yes. But right now, I'm still not tending to it. So for me, this will be a rejection. For me, this will become T. After that, because it's M, it will be the biggest knife you see in the long time. I'm not saying we're gapping over this, but this, and also not that we just go so straight down, it could be possible, but it will be steep down. Yeah, the first bounce for this is, in my opinion, still 625, and I don't think this will hold, to 612. Yeah, then you will come up again. this will be your T, and then you will even knife more. Yeah, still the opinion. And I will show also why. So breaking over this line, bullish. Rejecting this line, absolutely fucking bearish. So now NASDAQ, and NASDAQ is telling a completely different story, and that is something which scares me. Yeah? Because let's look on the 1 hour to see it better. So you have your peak in October. Yeah, remember, SPY had its peak in January. NASDAQ had its peak in October. So there is you could say that NASDAQ is foreshadowing SPY. Yeah, maybe. The difference between SPY and NASDAQ is that you went down, you come up again. This is your lower high in January. Yeah, the lower high was in January when SPY made its peak. So the only problem is, if you look, your lower high started here. And as you know, for my rules, a ladder is only finished when it's going lower where it started. So where was lower high finished? Here. Here was lower high finished. This whole thing is L, lower high. So here comes the problem. Where do you put M? Yeah? In the most stupidest way to really fight for a bullish version, you have to put your M here and your T here. That means you have a massive lower high and a tiny M and a tiny T. Yeah. For me, could be, you know, the 1%. Yeah. But that's the only way to make this. Yeah. And in that case, yeah, NASDAQ already showed you we going into a bull market if it's this. Yeah, that means SPY will break this week the wedge, and NASDAQ and go to all-time highs, and NASDAQ will also go to all-time highs. That's the only thing. The thing what I am tending to, and I could be really wrong, yeah, is the only way to make this tracking wise working is we are forming M right now. We maybe already did it. Yeah. And lower high, here is the M starting. That's the only way for me. In that case, yeah, you won't come to all-time highs in the near future. For NASDAQ, same. Or, I mean, you could also say, okay, then this is M. NASDAQ will fall, but SPY will run. I never saw that. So I don't think that's even possible. For NASDAQ, your first level to bounce would be 552, but same as SPY, I don't think this will hold. Second one would be 542, 541, maybe even lower. Then you will come up again, same as SPY. This would be your T, and then you would fall even more. Yeah, that are the two bullish and bearish cases for SPY and NASDAQ. And now we look at last at VIX, because that's also interesting. And that's kind of shitty right now, because I'm bearish, but especially for VIX, I am 50-50. Just to explain that to people who don't know what the volatility index is. In very short summary, if VIX is going up, market is going down. If VIX is going down, market is going up. So bullish VIX, bad for SPY and NASDAQ. Bearish VIX, good for SPY and NASDAQ. And I can make here an absolutely 50-50 version. So for the bullish VIX, which would mean market crash, would mean August 2024 was C, April 2025 was lower high, and we are now only tracking this as one fractal, just the lower high. In that case, here is your M, this was your T, and here on December 2025 was your V. And the thing is, you went up, this is your A. And that's the shitty part here, because if you only went up a few cents more, this version couldn't be possible because A can't be over M. The reason that we are slightly rejected under it makes this still working. You pulled back. And the thing is, if you're taking from here to here, this is a perfect 618 pullback, what A is normally doing. And if you now zoom in, what we did today was a perfect higher low. So if this is true, VIX is in the perfect position to start running. Your next level is at least 52 dollars then for your big M. If VIX is doing that, you are doing a market crash or a mini market crash. If you're even stopping here, yeah, just saying. This would be the bullish version. The bearish one is this here. In that case, you have still the same C, the same lower high. The only difference is that this candle here was your M. Yeah, the M just of this L. You have here your lower high. Today, you did this little peak here was your M. In that case, to finish this M, you have to come lower than 1339. You will bounce. This will be then your T. You will make a new all-time low after that. And then you will come up to your big M and blah, blah, blah. That's for the future. But this move here, this is bull run of 2026 and blow off top for the market. This is a fucking bullish market if you do this. Yeah. So, and I can draw both things. Absolutely. Especially, you could also even say lower high, lower high, lower high. Makes sense. Yeah. But you could simple also say high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Yeah. You can make this really 50-50. You can track this as market crash, market run. That's the shitty part right now. That's also why I bought a pretty good position in nasdaq puts today. And I bought a pretty good position in VIX puts today. I'm playing both sides because remember, when VIX is going down, market is going up. So if my puts are winning, my puts on nasdaq are dying, but my puts are winning. If VIX is going up, then the market could crash. That means my puts on nasdaq are winning. Yeah, but if you do nothing, I'm losing on both sides. Let's say, yeah. But this 50-50 right now is not happening so often. Yeah, we're really in a position right now where everything can always happen. Yeah, you can always say he's going up or down, but we are right now in a position, in my opinion, where we could see massively upside or massively downside. That's not something which is happening so often. Yeah? And the news will just be, if SPY is breaking 690, we have peace. Yeah, Iran is giving up or whatever, peace. If you're rejecting 690, Iran says, fuck you, Trump, and the war goes on. Simply as that. Okay. As always, explanation video here, playlist here. The big update video with every of our stocks is back here. The rest one, I looked at them, all tracking, still working, nothing really changed. So let's see if Trump is ending the world, saving the world, or whatever. Yeah.